What's happening, good people? How we doing? This is Monday morning, man. Time is 7:25, and I took another break, man. Well, I didn't take a break. I took a break from writing. Friday, Saturday, and Saturday, I was working my butt off, cleaning out my flower bed, taking all the old mulch, all the weeds and topsoil out of the flower bed, and using that as fill dirt for my new raised bed. And I didn't have enough, even though I had another raised bed, one of my old raised beds. I also added to that. I still don't have enough, so I have to get some. I have to buy some topsoil and compost, black cow, and I'll probably finish it. What's the day? The 21st. I'll probably finish it this weekend. But anyways, I just ate my banana. Just finished my banana and a cup of coffee. So I'm about to get another cup of coffee. And I'm going to pour up a cup of water right now, because writers need I'm trying to say this without sounding too Diddy-ish, but we need lubrication for our brain. You know what I mean? That's that joke will be really old in about 2 or 3 years. But so I'm gonna get me a sip of water before I go back downstairs and get my second cup of coffee. Okay. And I'll be back. Y'all hold tight. Let's go. All right, I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. If you can see the steam coming off this cup here, I got a fresh tank of gas. And we about to go somewhere. We about to go somewhere. We fixing to go somewhere, y'all. Y'all hold tight. Put your seatbelt on, because I don't want nobody to get whiplash. So this is where we stopped last Friday. And so we're going to pick it back up right here. Without further ado, let's get back into it. All right, let me take a little sip. Sip of water. My number one dad cup. Oh, I got the Bob Ross on today. Y'all know what Bob Ross is all about, man. He's about happy trees. So I'm gonna paint some happy trees today, y'all. Take a little sip of coffee. It's pretty hot now. Okay, let's go. But according to Keyshawn, it was all of those things and more. All right, so let me go back up, because I'm gonna just go ahead and highlight this, because according to Keyshawn, it's kind of like starting on a cliff. So I'm gonna go ahead and highlight that, make that green as well, and we'll start right here, because all right. Now that Sonya was older, she paid close attention to her nails, hair, skin, and all sorts of prissy things, as Jacob had put it. But according to Keyshawn, it was all of those things and more that made her so appealing. In reality, had it not been for a few unwanted blemishes, her face would have been flawless. But like many teenage girls experiencing puberty, she couldn't see past those few imperfections. A false portrayal of high esteem was how she got through the depressing times and all else that came with being a young woman. Okay, so I butchered that. I apologize, but y'all, y'all gotta excuse me now. Y'all know how it is. You know what I'm doing. In my mind, I'm like, portrayal. Is that spelled right? Portrayal? Okay, yeah, that's right. Of high self-esteem. Is that right? So I'm doing the editing thing in my head. And, I'm still trying to wake up, even though I'm on my second cup of coffee. So y'all bear with me. We're gonna get through it though. Let's go back. Let's take it back from the top. Now that Sonya was older, she paid close attention to her nails, hair, skin, and all sorts of prissy things, as Jacob had put it. But according to Keyshawn, it was all of those things and more that made her so appealing. In reality, had it not been for a few unwanted blemishes, her face would have been flawless. But like many teenage girls experiencing puberty, she couldn't see past those few imperfections. A false portrayal of high self-esteem was how she got through the depressing times and all else that came with being a young woman. We'll come back to that. Having high cheekbones and eyes that were slightly slanted, she had the face of a Nubian princess. And these days, with long stringy legs that all. And these days, how's that work? Having high cheekbones and eyes that were slightly slanted. That's too much. That's too much. Slightly slanted. Yeah, we can say somewhat. Somewhat slanted. Yeah, that sounds better. With high cheekbones and eyes that were somewhat slanted, she had the face of a Nubian princess. And these days, with long, stringy legs that always seemed to rise higher than intended. Oh, I know what I meant by these days. Okay. Yeah. I know what I meant by these days. I know what I meant now. It just clicked in my head. But I'm going to have to change that because it doesn't fit. Because I'm not explaining what that means, which you don't have to. But anyways, I could actually leave it, but I'm not. I don't think I'm going to leave it. And these days, with long, stringy legs that always seem to rise higher than intended with every step, somehow the girl still managed to pull off a decent runway strut when walking. So what I mean by "and these days," I'm referring to her growth spurt. Growth spurt. She's 14, so she grew a little bit. So what I mean by these days, she, how it's like a child. A lot of times you see them boys, not girls, because girls, they seem to grow like overnight. Like one day you see them and they're 10 and cute little baby. Next thing you know, they're like a little woman. It's like, wait a minute, what did I miss? I hadn't seen you in 2 weeks. Like my nieces, my nieces and my little cousins. I see them one day, they're like a little cute little girl. Next thing you know, they're like a little woman. It's like, huh? How old are you now? Oh, I'm 14. Oh, okay, dang. Little boys, you'll see a little boy who's 14 who looks like he's 10 sometimes. It's like you ain't growing, and then you see him one day, and but little boys don't turn into men until like 20s. Y'all know what I mean? Little boys, like your little nephews, and you see them, and they still seem like they're not really adults until they're in their early 20s. It seems like physically, some of them grow a lot faster, but with boys we grow slower. We'll get taller, but we just look like a tall little boy a lot of times. Anyways, having high cheekbones and eyes that were somewhat slanted, she had the face of a Nubian princess. And these days, so and with stringy legs, I just say, and with stringy legs that always seem to rise higher than intended with every. With every step, somehow the girl still managed to pull off a decent runway strut when walking. A runway strut? It's kind of, runway. It's kind of obsessive. Somehow the girl still managed to pull off a decent. I'll leave it there right now. It's a book. It all began after turning 13. That's when she started acting like a girl. was how Jacob had put it. Were Jacob's thoughts. Let me see. Redundancy. Oh yeah, I was gonna say that's kind of redundant. I think I wrote that last week. Maybe no. When did I write that? Friday. Yeah. Were Jacob's thoughts, because I wrote earlier, Prissy, as Jacob had put it. Yeah, put it. Okay, so at least, okay, Jacob had thought. Okay, that's when she started acting like a girl. Okay, we will, at least those were Jacob's thoughts. We'll put that there. It's a lot of fiction that goes into this thing called writing, y'all. A lot of fiction. And just, going over and over and over and over and over. Okay. It had all began after turning 13. That's when she started acting like a girl. It's how Jacob is how her little brother saw it, had seen it. Little brother had seen it. Not Jad seen it, but had seen it. Yeah. It's how her little brother had seen it. On occasion, however, the two would still wrestle and sometimes play hand games like Miss Mary Mack and Shame. I know people will know Miss Mary Mack, Miss Mary Mack, all dressed in black. Y'all remember that. But I don't know if they remember. I don't know if a lot of people would know Shame. I don't remember Shame really. I remember the name, but I don't remember Miss Mary Mack. I remember the tune. I grew up with a lot of female cousins. Salute to all my female cousins. And they would do things like play G.I. Joe with us, and we would play hand games with them, And it wasn't any kind of like, oh, he's he's sensitive. No, it wasn't anything like that. It was just that's how we played together. They would play cops and robbers with us, or wrestle with us. One of my cousins, she would whoop your ass. She would DDT you. She was a hardcore girl. She was a hardcore tomboy, and we would do things like that. We had like a lot of girls. We had more boys than girls, but for the girls, sometimes they would be playing hand games. Getting down, like just doing all the the hand games, and we on the sideline looking like, damn, it look like they're having fun. So we would join in as the male cousins, rough and tough. We would join in and hit the hands too hard and stuff. But anyways, that's what that's about. We may replace Shame with something else, because I know people will know Miss Mary Mack. I know if you're black and you're in the South, you know the hand game, Miss Mary Mack. But Shame was like, I can't remember. It was like Shame, I think. I can't remember how it went, but it was, I can't remember. So, because I can't remember, other people may not remember, so I'm going to change that. Unfortunately, let me go somewhere real quick, see if I can find something. Y'all hold tight. All right, so this is Miss Mary Mack right here. Miss Mary Mack, all dressed in black. With silver buttons all down her back. Yeah, so that's Miss Mary Mack. They got a whole bunch, but let me see if they got Shame. Y'all got Shame? Let me go back. All right, so you see immediately they do have Shame, and you see two little black girls. So Shame was, I think it was more of a black game. Let's see what they got going here. Let's see.
Hi, my name is Steve. And my name is Nate. And we are going to be doing a handshake called Shame. Shame, shame, shame. I don't
Wanna go to Mexico no more. There's a big fat policeman at the door. If it's a collar, then you better holler. I don't wanna go to Mexico no more.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so that's Shame. I'm gonna leave Shame because it's there. I'm gonna leave it because some people are gonna watch this video and they're gonna know what I'm talking about now. All right, so we're back. So I'm gonna leave Shame. Unfortunately, those games came too far in between, or in abruptly. Okay, so many complaints. Goodness gracious, man! Lord. This Monday morning, y'all. On occasion, however, though, the two would still wrestle and sometimes play hand games like Miss Mary Mac and Shame. Unfortunately, those games came too far in between or end abruptly after so many complaints of Jacob hitting her hands too rough during Shame. Okay, so apparently when I wrote this, I remember what Shame was. The more parts, or that it was just too childish to be playing around with little kids like Jacob. Like Jake. Their last wrestling match had also ended suddenly after Sonya realized that it would be an opportune moment to get back at Jacob for listening in on her phone conversations. A chokehold that Jacob himself had shown her, the Charleston choke, ended up being the very cause of him frantically tapping out seconds before passing out. Luckily, the boy was quickly resuscitated by a tall glass of Kool-Aid that had been poured partially on his face by his nervous sister. It had been a last resort after several panic slaps by the terrified teen. This is all kind of new to me, y'all. That's why I'm smiling like this. And I'm picturing this in my head, but I don't really remember writing this. So that's why I'm smiling. Awakening to a taste of sweet substance, cherry flavor, and seeing the dark red liquid, Jacob immediately began to wonder why his sister was teary-eyed and why he'd been covered in tasty blood. Okay, maybe it's a dream or nightmare, or maybe I'm dead. She must have killed me on accident. Now I'm a ghost about to leave my body forever. Okay. It had all taken place minutes before their parents arrived home from work, and thankfully so, both Mr. and Mrs. Wallace tended to be equally cranky after a long day's work. The last thing they would want to see as they entered their home was their 10-year-old son sprawled out on the floor, covered in blood, with their teenage daughter nervously looking over him with tears coming down her face. After bringing Jacob back to his senses, the two rushed to get him and the carpet cleaned, removing most of the red stain by scrubbing the carpet like maniacs. They finished off the crime scene by rearranging all the furniture in the living room, placing the couch over the wet spot. When the exhausted parents came through the door, they were surprised but proud to see that not only did their well-disciplined children took the initiative take the initiative. Not only did their well-disciplined children take the initiative to clean, and rearrange the living room, but the kitchen and bathroom were also clean, were also spotless. I'm not really doing too much editing in my head right now. I'm just going over this, but I'm sure there are things I need to change. So, but hey, feel free to comment on it, please. Despite a little soreness in Jacob's neck and Sonia worrying about her mother looking under the couch, it turned out to be a good night for the two after all. Oh, okay. So apparently that was another chapter. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 pages. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's only 4 pages, and I have to change this to 3. A chapter can be 4 pages. A chapter can be 2 pages, really. A page. So I'm not going to worry about that. But we will pick it up right here. Now that Sonia was older, she paid close attention to her nails, hair, skin, and all sorts of prissy things, as Jacob had put it. But according to Keyshawn, it was all of those things and more that made her so appealing. Appealing or interesting? Interesting. Keyshawn he's a pretty smart cat, I'm thinking. I don't remember, but we'll see. In reality, had it not been for a few unwanted blemishes, her face would have been flawless. But like many teenage girls experiencing puberty, she couldn't see past those few imperfections. A false portrayal of high self-esteem was how she got through depressing times and all else that came with being a young woman. Having high cheekbones and eyes that were somewhat slanted, she had the face of a Nubian princess, and with long, stringy legs that always seemed to rise higher than intended with every step. Somehow the girl still managed to pull off a decent runway strut when walking. It had all been after turning 13. That's when she started acting like a girl, is how her little brother had seen it. On occasion, however, the two would still wrestle and sometimes play hand games like Miss Mary Mack and Shane. Unfortunately, those games came too far in between or end abruptly after so many complaints of Jacob hitting her hand too rough during Shane, the more parts, or that it was just too childish to be playing around with little kids like that, like Jake. Their last wrestling match had also ended suddenly after Sonia realized that it would be an opportune moment to get back at Jacob for listening in on her phone conversations. A chokehold that Jacob himself had shown her, the Charleston choke, ended up being the very cause of her frantically tapping out seconds before passing out. Ended up being the very cause of him frantically tapping out seconds before passing out. Luckily, the boy was quickly resuscitated by a tall glass of Kool-Aid that had been poured partially on his face by his nervous sister. It had been a last result after several panic slaps by the terrified teen, awakening to the taste of the sweet substance, cherry flavor, and seeing the dark red liquid Jacob immediately began to wonder why his sister was teary-eyed and why he'd been covered in tasty blood. Maybe it's a dream, a nightmare, or maybe I'm dead. She must have killed me on accident. Now I'm a ghost about to leave my body forever. It had all taken place minutes before their parents arrived home from work, and thankfully so. Both Mr. and Mrs. Wallace tended to be equally cranky after a long day's work. The last thing they would want to see as they entered their home was their 10-year-old son sprawled out on the floor covered in blood, with their teenage daughter nervously looking over him with tears coming down her face. After bringing Jacob back to his senses, the two rushed to get him and the carpet clean, removing most of the red stain by scrubbing the carpet like maniacs. They finished off the crime scene by rearranging all the furniture in the living room, placing the couch over the wet spot. When the exhausted parents came through the door, they were surprised but proud to see that not only did their well-disciplined children take the initiative to clean and rearrange the living room, but the kitchen and bathrooms were also spotless. Despite a little soreness in Jacob's neck and Sonia worrying about her mother looking underneath the couch, it turned out to be a good night for the two after all. Alright, so that's what we'll mark this in red. This is the stopping point for tomorrow. We may just zoom past this. We may just get to chapter 3 tomorrow. And again, this is a short chapter, but that's okay. It's a very short chapter. That's okay. That's fine. Sometimes readers appreciate short chapters, especially if you're just trying to get through a chapter and you're crunched for time. Sometimes they appreciate it. But we'll pick it back up here in the green tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be a little bit more back in the routine. I took 2 days off, so but it's gonna be like this until I'm done. Maybe not so bad, but until I'm done, I'm going to be editing as I'm reading. So that's something that you just gotta bear with, you know. Okay, so right now I'm gonna just stop this. Thank you all for stopping by again. I'm getting about 8 views now on my videos. Every now and then it dips under that. Well, I'll say 7. But I appreciate everybody's, participation. I hadn't had any comments yet. So if you want to be the first person to comment, this is video number 40 out of 40 videos. I have 0 comments. So if you are one of the 7 people who are watching my videos constantly, on a daily basis, and you hadn't left a comment yet, why are you still watching the videos? If you I don't care who it is. You may be somebody I know. You may be a family member. I don't care. Say something. Say I'm here. Because let me tell you why. Every comment that's left, every like, thumbs up, every share, it helps the algorithm. It suggests the video to other people. 10 people, I think. So if you leave a comment, that's going to automatically suggest my video to 10 people, I believe. I don't know, but I know it does something good for the videos. So I need comments, I need likes, I need, I don't care if you're being critical, but please be constructive. I appreciate constructive criticism. I don't care if anybody, you just suck as a writer, quit. Even that, I don't care. Leave that too. But it's been about 30 minutes already, so I'm gonna leave it here. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Right now, I'm about to post this video and go outside and do some things. But y'all have a wonderful Tuesday. You'll get this video on Tuesday. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Have a wonderful week. This is Anthony L. Kelly. So y'all can call me by my initials, ALK. Sort of like MLK. Till next time, salute. I'm out.